So what exactly inspired this digital strategy in terms of engaging fans, not just via the television show, but online as well?
We realized at the end of season 1 of Teen Wolf that we were very close to reaching 1 million fans on Facebook. And we thought, what could we do to actually incent them to reach that benchmark, and how quickly can we do it? So we created what we're now calling the bridge strategy, which basically tried to engage those fans online in the social space over the period of 365 days. The first thing we did was try to incent them to reach that 1 million mark by giving them great content as a reward. So that was really the beginning of that 365-day approach to managing the show and keeping fans engaged and involved throughout the whole year.
And practically, what was that, the digital strategy of Facebook and, well, it's mainly Facebook, but probably soon Twitter and all those social media platforms. What's the relationship between that and marketing, how you market the show and, make sure that you have the audience there as well? Right.
Facebook was obviously a very big part of the strategy, but it was without question broader than that. We have a very visual and interesting very visually interesting components to the show. So Tumblr was actually a very big part of the campaign as well. We engaged the show's creator and producer, Jeff Davis, from day 1 of this bridge strategy. And he was helping us basically by providing content throughout the entire off season. So not only Facebook, but Tumblr was really a key component to the campaign. We were basically rewarding fans every day. A new photo from set was being released. So we really engaged every place that they were and gave them all the content we possibly could give them to do with what they wanted to. We had over 87 million impressions while there was actually not one episode of the show on air. So we're looking at this as really a new benchmark for success. And I think that as the TV landscape gets more and more competitive and cluttered, we really can't afford to let fans go away for 6, 8, 10 months while a show is dark. So we're really thinking about blurring those lines further than we already have around what is marketing and what is content. And I think that everything that we provided to the fans during that off season was really valuable and fun content that they were consuming. We weren't actually marketing. We weren't spending marketing dollars in the way that traditionally people expect that we would have, but the benefits were probably greater than they would have been if we'd spent millions and millions of dollars. The biggest result of that success to me is that more people came to the premiere of the show than they did first time around. So it's great to have all those social metrics, but we still want to see the growth on the linear screen as well. So I think that it was a success story all the way around. And we're now looking at that strategy and trying to determine where else does it make sense. I think that it starts with the fan base. If they're passionate and they're really consuming content in a way that lends itself to this type of strategy, we'll be there. But I think great content from the show and an enthusiastic fan base that actually wants to engage and wants more has to lead the way. We don't expect that just because there's loud buzz, loud chatter in the social space that it's automatically going to relate or result in ratings. But I think that in this case specifically with Teen Wolf, I think that the bridge strategy was one where we knew that we weren't going to spend a huge amount of dollars in the off season, but to see $0 spent and huge growth was phenomenal. And then we followed that with a much more traditional marketing campaign. So it wasn't like we just rested on the social campaign alone. So I think that we're in a stage that social can do a lot of heavy lifting, but it's not going to be the only component of a campaign. We're looking at and approaching every new series, every priority that we have in new ways, and we're really thinking about how do we keep the fan base engaged while there aren't episodes on the air. It's very hard to start from ground zero with each new season, especially when there's a lot of time or lag time in between seasons. So I think this approach is really going to be the new norm for us, and we're very lucky we have an incredibly active audience base. They're all living in this space, so it's very easy to find them, especially when they're also sometimes dictating the types of content that they want. They're creating the content on their own, so they're leading the ways in many ways, and it helps us to pretty much determine the strategy. It's hard to deny when you have great ratings that people care about a show, but it's even harder to deny when you have the type of enthusiasm that we found with shows like Teen Wolf and Awkward, that you can engage a fan base for 365 days a year. So my hope, and I think my gut, is that advertisers are going to look to engage with these shows for the same amount of time. It gives them more opportunity to really stay connected to fans of the show. So the more opportunities we're creating for them, I think the better off they are.